Hi, my name is Millie Kay. It is Monday, April 17th, 2017. The subject of today's video is the Thermalito Pumping and Generating Plant. The actual name of it, because it's named after someone, is the Ronald B. Robie Thermalito Power Plant. So you can see it here in this Google map close up. And I'll show you where it's located in relation to everything else up at Oroville. If you look at this map, up in the right hand corner is Lake Oroville. This is the reservoir. The dam is here. You can just see the spillway right there. And then the diversion pool comes along here all the way to the diversion dam. I can move this down a little bit so you can see. The diversion dam is here, and then the water can be diverted on down the Feather River or through this power canal that goes from the diversion dam to the Forebay. This whole area here is the Forebay. It holds about 11,770 acre-feet of water. And the power plant I'm talking about is right here, right there, and that's where we'll be going a little further with. And then this is the channel that leads on to the Afterbay. But for now, we'll focus on this area right here in the next shot. First I'll show you Thermalito. The little town of Thermalito is around in here. And then over here is Oroville in this area. And the towns are a little bit intertwined, so I'm not really sure where Thermalito might end. It's sort of surrounded by, well, I'm not sure. So I'll just leave it with that, and then I'll go to the next. This is the power plant. This is, as I said, it's a generating and pumping plant. Let me turn this around so you can see a little bit more. This is that area at the very tail end of the Forebay that I showed you in the previous map. And then here's the power plant, and then this is that channel that leads on to the Afterbay. This power plant houses 4 hydroelectric generators. So there's 4 units, and all 4 of them can produce hydroelectricity. 3 of them are also pump generators. So they're capable of pumping water. For instance, they can pump water from this channel here back into the Forebay. There's 5 floors to this facility, and some of them are underground. In 2012, which was November 22nd, it was Thanksgiving Day, there was a fire in this plant, and it was unmanned, so there were no injuries, but it was a major fire, and it burned for 2 days. The firefighters went in, but they were driven out because of the heavy black smoke and the collapsing equipment. So they put a special cellar nozzle in there to keep putting out the fire, and it took a couple of days, but finally the fire was put out. Let's see, let me move this around a little bit so you can see the other side of it. This power plant, along with the diversion dam plant, which has 1 unit, and the Hyatt power plant, which has 6 units, can produce hydroelectricity. When they experienced the fire and this plant went down, it did not cripple the whole system because they still were able to bypass water through the bypass channel through this plant so that it didn't have to go through the generators. So at that point, what they had lost is between $6 and $10 million a year in hydroelectricity that was not being generated. So after the fire, there were a lot of investigations and reenactments, and since it's the state, there were lots of reviews. And I read one review by, his name is David Roose. He's the Chief of Utility Operations for the Department of Water Resources. And he had written a very lengthy review in 2015. And I will put a link to it in the description part of this video. But it's very detailed. And so if you want to dig in deeper into the technical information about this power plant, that would be a good place to start. I do know that anytime there's a fire, the main thing people want to know is what caused it. So I pulled out some information from that review, some very general information from his review under the section of contributing factors. And I just want to point out that this is some of the contributing factors, but not all. What it included is aged cables, mixed voltages, and overstacked cables in the cable trays, a lack of fire stops between elevations, an inoperable dry chemical fire extinguisher cart, and combustible materials such as plant schematics and additional historical items printed on large paper sheets stored within the plant. So just in looking at the part about the cable trays, I want to show you a picture of a cable tray. This is not necessarily what the cable trays look like in this power plant, but it's a good example of what a cable tray does. And it's pretty self-explanatory. The cable tray is where they lay those big cables so that they don't have to lay them on top of one another, and makes it easy to access and inspect, fix, and replace those big cables so that they don't have to be pulling them through pipes and tubes and other conduits. So this shows a bunch of cable laid here. As you can see, it makes it really stackable. Some tray systems look more like metal shelving units. It just depends on the application. So if we go back and see again that it was aged cables, mixed voltages, and overstacked cables in the cable trays. So those are part of the contributing factors. When they had the fire, let me go back here. After the fire, they estimated that it was going to be 2018 when the plant would be back to what it should be. And I do know that as recently as earlier this year, I saw some bid solicitations on the state bid website that were for this power plant. So I know that there is still work going on. And one thing that the state does anytime there's an incident like this is they will review it and see what they learned from it so that they can apply that learning to all of their other facilities within the state water project and elsewhere. So the Hyatt power plant up at the dam would benefit by anything that they've learned from this incident at this power plant. And the cost, as far as the plant goes, in general, I've read that the cleanup amounts to about $90 million, and then the repairs and modernization runs closer to about $100 million. So a couple of $100 million to get that plant back up and running. Let me go here and just end with this last view of the Forebay, and the power plant is right there. And then in this one you can see the whole Afterbay all the way to that outlet that goes into the Feather River. And to know that you can see here how this water would go back through this channel, so that when this pump back operation is working, it's taking water out of here and putting it into here, and then ultimately that can go back to the Hyatt power plant. So that's all for today. I hope you'll like, subscribe, and share this video. I appreciate your viewing. Hope you'll come back. Have a good day, and see you later.